jobbing. I was raised in old West Yorkshire born and bred. But when I joined the Union Boys, well, they call me the Russian Red. Join the NEU, oh, join the NEU. So if you want to join a union, just as strong as it can be, join the dear old NEU and come along with me. Join the NEU, oh, join the NEU. We are many thousand strong, and I am glad to say we are getting stronger now and stronger every day. Join the NEU, oh, join the NEU. Well, there's money enough for the rich, but not enough for schools. And if they think we're buying that, then they must take us for fools. Join the NEU, oh, join the NEU. The ministers said they talk, if we call up the strikes, they can say what we gave, but we knew we'd lose our rights. Join the NEU, oh, join the NEU. Sing it. Join the NEU, oh, join the NEU. Again. Join the NEU, oh, join the NEU. Join the NEU, oh, join the NEU. One more. Join the NEU right now. Join the NEU.
Welcome everybody to the People's Assembly demonstration. When the working class is under attack, what do?
Stand up, fight back!
When disabled people are under attack, what do?
Stand up, fight back!
When doctors and nurses are under attack, what do?
Stand up, fight back!
When teachers and support staff are under attack, what do?
Stand up, fight back!
Welcome! My name is Ramona McCartney and I am from the People's Assembly. Thank you so much for turning out today. We've got a great lineup of speakers and we're not going to hang around, we're going to get stuck right in. So first of all, when disabled people are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Paula Peters, Deepak! Solidarity, everyone! Give a large boo to Rachel the Robber Reeves! Yay, got it! Labour's proposed disability benefit cuts will be catastrophic and will see 9 billion come from the welfare state by 2029-30. And see cuts to PIP with a 4-point rule will see 1.5 million disabled people lose their entitlement to the daily living component of PIP, and with it passported benefits of the health element of UC, carers allowance, carers element of UC, blue badges and bus passes, and it will drag millions of disabled people into the benefit cut with cuts to housing support, ramping up homelessness. The impact on women and carers will be devastating, with 150,000 carers impacted. This government are taking the piss out of us. Stop attacking us. The abolition of the work capability assessment in 2028 will see millions of disabled people dragged into the job centre and under the harsh conditionality and benefit sanctions. All of this impacts on disabled workers with cuts to PIP and access to work being slashed, while they have had a devastating impact on disabled creatives and will also impact on the deaf community and BSL users and disabled workers. Starmer thinks these cuts will alter our behaviour and get us into work. So here's our message to Starmer. Stop Austerity 2.0, tax the rich. We want welfare, not warfare. Together, let us build the biggest anti-austerity movement that this country has ever seen, with disabled people at the heart of it. And to all disabled people who've come out on the march today, and every single disabled person who are at home watching on the live stream, this is for you! Solidarity to all of you! And let's tell Rachel Reeves her days are numbered. Solidarity, and see you all soon.
Honestly, this is such a beautiful sight. There are thousands and thousands here protesting against austerity Labour, Austerity 2.0. After 14 years of Conservative cuts, we expect better from a Labour government. And let me tell you something, there is a strike at the minute happening in Birmingham. You will have all seen it. It is a cause célèbre. We are seeing working people lose up to £10,000 of their salaries. We have had enough of cuts to working class people while the rich get richer. Now their strike has been inspirational, and I am so glad to welcome the Birmingham Big Strikers.
Good afternoon everybody, and thanks to the organisers of today's event. Friends, September 2023 is a date to most of no significance to some people, but to 370 waste workers, this is when Birmingham City Council announced it had issued a Section 114 notice, effectively declaring bankruptcy and announcing debts of up to 176 million due to equal pay claims. Then in October 23, the then Tory government sent in 6 commissioners, with Max Keller at the helm, to overhaul Birmingham City Council with powers of finance and decision making scheduled to last 5 years. Birmingham City Council then passes budget cuts, the largest in local authority history, cutting 600 council jobs, selling 11 community centres, moving bin collections to fortnightly, council tax rises by 21% for 2 years. Now in July 24, Labour take control of government. These 6 commissioners, instead of being dismissed, are told to continue with their plans for Birmingham City Council under the guidance of Angela Rayner. Within those 2 years, they have announced their plans to restructure the waste service, and as we now know, the workers are to suffer yet again. Firstly, they removed a safety critical role, then the grade 3 role completely, causing losses of £6,000 a year. Now secondly, after reassurances, drivers have now been told to expect a downgrade and losses of up to £10,000 a year. Friends, Angela Rayner recently visited Birmingham, but not a picket line, I hasten to add, and told bin workers to accept the generous offer that had been offered. This same offer, which Birmingham City leader John Cotton says, and I quote, "No workers will lose money." Comrades, enough is enough. Why should we be made to pay for our employers' mistakes and be forced into austerity? Let the fat cats pay out of their 5.7 pay rise with what they gave themselves. They say they are bankrupt, yet figures are now reporting that since industrial action, it has cost Birmingham City Council 200 million and 1 million for the service of West Midlands Police. Costs which included private security guards, private waste companies, agency recruitment and High Court injunctions. This strike has been compared to strikes of the past. I'd like to think this is the one that shaped our future. A future where my comrades who are here today and build a future without worry or fear. Finally, on behalf of 370 striking bin workers, Thank you for solidarity, and thank you to our families for your unconditional support and understanding. Solidarity to all.
Solidarity to the bank workers. I'm also here to say our NHS is not for sale. Who's NHS?
Our NHS!
Who's NHS?
Our NHS!
We're welcoming to the stage Dr. Andrew Merson and Nurse Holly Turner.
Hello everyone, colleagues, friends, allies. I'm so proud to stand with everyone today. My profession, I'm a learning disability nurse, and I work with some of the most vulnerable people in our society, people whose needs are complex and people whose voices are too often ignored. And today I stand here not just as a nurse, but as an advocate, a witness to the injustice of this cruel Labour government. Our annual pay award was recently announced at 3.6%, and we're told that is all we are worth. That we, the people holding the broken services together, showing up day after day, working with moral injury from being forced to deliver substandard care in unsafe wards. Should we accept another year of real terms pay cuts? Well, Streety, this is not recognition, this is an insult. And it's not just our wages they're cutting, it's the lifelines people depend on. Disability benefits are being slashed, leaving families in fear, people isolated, unsupported, pushed further to the margins. It's not just cruel, it's cowardly. You do not balance the books by breaking the backs of the people who are already carrying the heaviest loads. But we're not alone in this fight. I stand in full solidarity with our doctors, our junior colleagues and our consultants who are also fighting for pay restoration. We're for the fullest unity across the public sector workforce and beyond, and we won't fall for this government's divisive tactics. So I say to those in power, we are not going away, we're not backing down. You may underestimate our resolve, but hear this loud and clear. Workers are the heartbeat of the NHS, and we will always fight back. We're here, we're ready, and we will not stop until care is valued, until disability is respected, and until our pay is restored. Health workers, now is your time, not just to speak out, but to act. When your ballot arrives, vote reject to the insulting pay award. Reject a system that rewards burnout and punishes care. And to every worker, this fight is yours too. Stand with us. Demand the dignity we all deserve. Together, across every sector, we are powerful. Together, we can turn rejection to resistance. And resistance is change. Solidarity.
Hey everybody, I am Andrew. I love the NHS. This is why we need a wealth tax in 2 minutes. So let's do a math problem together, okay? If former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has £650 million, £650 million, and we apply a 2% wealth tax to that amount, how much would he have left to pay? I'll speed this up. He would have to pay £13 million, okay? And so he starts off with 650 million. We take away 13 million, and he's left with 637 million pounds. Oh my goodness, pobrecito, masquin, that poor thing. He has to live on 637 million pounds. That's how absurd this argument is, and that's why we desperately need a wealth tax. Taxing wealth is not radical, it's not insane, it's not going to put Rishi Sunak and other wealthy folks in the poorhouse, it's just common sense. Look, Austerity 1.0 killed 1 million people. The Tories used austerity to destroy our public services, our cities, our communities, and what's insane is allowing that to ever happen again, allowing 20% of the population to suffer in poverty because Labour's too weak to ask the super rich to pay just a bit more. That's insane. Allowing our hospitals to crumble, our schools to crumble, our kids to go hungry, allowing pensioners to freeze to death in one of the wealthiest countries on the planet. That's insane. That's immoral. That's a failure of our government to protect our elders. We must not stand for it any longer. And I'll tell you one more thing that's insane. Every year, we lose 20,000 doctors and 40,000 nurses to the private sector and to health systems abroad because this government refuses to pay restoration for us. That's something that's insane. We're leaving record numbers. They need to support us better. Taxing wealth isn't mad, it's straight up common sense. So labor, end the insanity. We don't need austerity 2.0, we need a Britain 2.0. We can have a bright future ahead of us, but the only way we'll get there is if we tax wealth and start rebuilding this country together. Thank you so much, and thank you for dealing with this in the ring.
Let's hear it for NHS workers! Let's send a very clear message to West Streeting and all of those who want to privatise what is a public good. Who's NHS?
Our NHS!
Who's NHS?
Our NHS!
Listen, I've just seen Jeremy Corbyn and Auntie Diane Abbott backstage. They're going to be speaking to you soon. I know it's raining, but it is raining on the righteous. Our next speaker is representing the public sector. The PCS union, 200,000 members. It is absolutely unacceptable that our civil servants are still getting paid poverty wages, having to claim benefits, and now there's talk about bringing in AI. Please give it up for Martin Kavanagh.
Thanks very much, Daniel, and solidarity comrades from PCS. Every single one of you out there in the rain, you are here for a reason. You are here for a really important reason. We've had a Labour government for nearly a year now that has not been listening to the workers, has not been listening to benefit claimants, not been listening to disabled, has not been listening to the working class, and has not been listening. It's in the pocket of big business. So our message, comrades, has to be loud and clear today that we will not accept, and we will never accept, a government that is more interested in funding arms sales than it is looking after the poor in its own country. Comrades, we will not accept a government that is complicit in genocide abroad whilst implementing austerity at home. The comrades, they came in and needs of power, allegedly saying they were going to make work pay, allegedly saying they're going to make a fairer and more inclusive society, the greatest way of resourcing. And what have they done instead? They come after the pensioners. They're coming after the disabled. They're coming after young people claiming benefits. They're coming after my members in PCS because they want to cut services to the public. So the message we have to give, if you can increase defence spending, and let's call it what it is, comrades, it's not defence spending, it's military spending, it's warfare. If you can do that, then you can pay your own workforce a decent standard of living. You can make sure that thousands of our members are no longer on the living wage. You can make sure that every single person who has to claim benefits is treated with respect and dignity with a properly funded social security system. And comrades, we can win these aims, we can win these demands, because we've done it before. And if they're not prepared to listen, we have to be ready, not just today to mobilise, but to come back louder and even bigger next time. And we keep going until we win. We keep going until Starmer listens. Till Starmer stops being complicit in genocide in Gaza. We absolutely keep going until they scrap the benefit cuts. We keep going until they give every worker respect, dignity and a decent standard of living. And above all else, comrades, we give the working class what we've always earned, what we've always deserved. A decent, fair society that pays its way, that treats us with respect and dignity. And if you're not going to do it, we'll come back in our thousands, our tens of thousands, our hundreds of thousands and our millions. Because we, at the end of the day, are the people who keep this country going. Solidarity, comrades, have a great day. Solidarity.
Thank you, Martin Kavanagh from the PCS Union. And well done to all the PCS marchers out there today. Wave your flags high. So the People's Assembly, this is a launch pad for a new campaign against this austerity-ridden Labour government. So today, it's a springboard, it's a start. Our next speaker is a co-founder of the People's Assembly Against Austerity. He's also a co-founder of Stop the War Coalition. it's my great pleasure to welcome John Rees.
Well, we are demanding welfare, not warfare. And so from this rally, I want us to send a message of solidarity. A message of solidarity to the dock workers of Marseille who are blocking arms deliveries to Israel. To the dock workers of Genoa who are blocking arms to Israel. To the dock workers of Piraeus in Greece who are blocking arms deliveries to Israel. Because when they say that we have to spend the money generated by hard-working trade unionists in this country to spend on nuclear submarines, to spend 15 billion, that's the wages of 40,000 nurses every year on armaments. When they say they're going to take tax money out of our pockets and put it in the profits of the arms corporations, we say this is no Labour government. This is no Labour government, because if it were a Labour government, it would stick up for labouring people and not for the profiteers and the corporations and the arms corporations. So enough is enough. We're here today, but we're also here to give warning. We will be on the streets again and again and again until this government either gives way or gets out of the way. And when the Labour Party conference comes around in Liverpool, a city with a proud working class reputation, on the eve of that conference, I want it to be very clear to Keir Starmer and to Rachel Reeves, we will be outside your conference with a massive demonstration of working people who will demand housing, hospitals, schools, not bombs, not nuclear weapons, not conscription. We want a life for working people, not to be sent to the front in some insane war in Europe, as Keir Starmer seems to imagine is the future for this country. So stay fighting, get organised, get into your unions. Do what the Birmingham bin workers have done. Defend yourselves when they come for you. March, protest, and let's get a policy that benefits working people and doesn't try to thieve out of their pockets to the corporations and the arms manufacturing. Solidarity.
If there's money for supersonic missiles, there's money for school support staff. If there's money for nukes, there's money for nurses. And if there is money for predator drones, then there is enough money to ensure that disabled people can live lives of dignity. I am so proud to introduce our next speaker. She is the auntie of our movement, the first black woman MP to be elected to Parliament in 1987. She is an absolute hero. Please welcome the MP for Stoke Newington, Diane Abbott.
Comrades, it is so great to see you all gathered here today, because this is not just a struggle for London or a struggle for England. This is an international struggle. Be it Italy, be it Germany, be it France, and be it America under Donald Trump. We have to mobilise internationally to fight the rich and the powerful, to fight the racists, not just racists that you might see on the street, but racists in our own Labour Party. We have to fight them. I was very disturbed to hear Keir Starmer on the subject of immigration. He talked about closing the book on a squalid chapter for our politics. Immigrants represent a squalid chapter. He talked about how he thought immigration, and I'm quoting from him, has done incalculable damage to this green and pleasant land. Which is nonsense. Immigrants built this land, built this society. And finally he said, we risk becoming an island of strangers. I thought that was a fundamentally racist thing to say. It is contrary to Britain's history. My parents came to this country in the 50s. They were not strangers. They were not strangers. They helped to build this country. So I think Keir Starmer is quite wrong to say that the way that you beat reform is to copy reform. We have to stand against these cuts. We have to stand against the austerity budget, and by coming together, fighting together, rallying together, we will win.
Big up for Diane Abbott! And what we do in the People's Assembly is we bring people together. We bring campaigns together. We bring anti-austerity MPs together. We bring the Green Party. We have them under our umbrella as well. So we are proud now to welcome Sam Polanski, Deputy Leader of the Green Party.
Thank you. Friends, there are over 300,000 people in this country sleeping homeless. There are 2.3 million people using food banks. There are over 3 million people living in fuel poverty. And Keir Starmer, his response? It's time to make difficult decisions. Why are these always difficult decisions for children living in poverty? Why are they always difficult decisions for disabled people, for migrants? Why are they not difficult decisions for multi-millionaires, for billionaires, for fossil fuel giants, for unscrupulous landlords? It is time to tax the rich. It is time to recognise inequality lies at the heart of all of our problems. There is no environmental justice without racial, social and economic justice. The government say there is no money left. There is no money for books in our schools, but they can spend billions and billions of pounds on bombs. Keir Starmer says the genocide is intolerable. We'll tell him what is intolerable. Intolerable is to see a Labour government not just complicit, but actively participating, selling weapons, sharing intelligence, end the genocide, and free Palestine! They will look for anyone else to say it is their problem, but the problem is not flying But the problem is not rowing here by dinghy. The problem here is not migrants, people seeking asylum, who will pay so much more in tax than they will ever take out in social security. The problem is flying above our heads by private jet, and the problem is living in number 10 Downing Street. Margaret Thatcher said that Tony Blair was her greatest legacy. Who knows what she would have thought about Keir Starmer? But she said there is no such thing as a society, and decades of austerity have tried to prove it. They have shut down our libraries. They have destroyed our green spaces. They are closing our community centres. And we will fight back, because there is such a thing as society. There is such a thing as community. It is right here, right now. It is organising. It is our workers. It is our trade unions. It is our campaigns. It is standing up against racism. It is organising. It is collecting. It is joining the Green Party or whatever political movement and saying, we demand change. We deserve better. Friends, solidarity. Thank you.
Big up Zach Polanski! Now we know one thing, an austerity Labour government is going to march Nigel Farage into number 10, and we are not going to stand for it. But the reality is right now we have 4.5 million children living in poverty, a number growing under a Labour government. We want to see an end to the 2-child benefit cap now! Now our next speaker represents a very, very fine union. She is an art teacher, but she is also the national president of the National Education Union. Big up, Sarah Kilpatrick!
The NU has 500,000 members, 500,000 educators, and every single one of us knows what it is to try and work with a hungry child, to try and work with a child who doesn't have the appropriate support for their special educational needs or their disability. Every single one of our 500,000 members knows that our schools are underfunded, knows that there is a recruitment and retention crisis in our profession that we are not fixing. The government are not fixing it. And instead of feeding children, instead of clothing children, instead of allowing children to have the funding they require in their schools in order to learn, they fund a scholasticide in Gaza. They use our money to murder children overseas instead of building our communities here. We will not stand for it. We want books, not bombs. We want welfare, not warfare. When a Labour government, a long-awaited Labour government, come into power with an unrivaled majority, and instead of using it to create hope, instead of using it to repair our schools, to repair education, to repair our NHS, to rebuild what the Tories decimated over the last 14 years, they stoke division in our communities instead. They ape the racist rhetoric of reform.
Shame.
They are building hate in our society, and they know they're doing it. We are the people fighting back. We are the people who take a stand against it. We will not be silenced. Solidarity, everybody.
And thank you, everyone, for sticking around. The People's Assembly is made up with so many different parts, and that's why we have so many speakers. But I think it is important that we stay and listen to each one of them because they represent everybody out here today. So thank you very much for sticking around for the speakers. Keep our NHS public has been a vital part in organising this demonstration. So our next speaker is Dr. John Putis.
Solidarity, brothers and sisters from COMP, Keep Our NHS Public, been fighting for the NHS for 20 years. Also, solidarity on behalf of our sister organisation, End Social Care Disgrace. The crisis in the NHS is pretty obvious for all to see. Waiting list now of 7.4 million. Ambulances queuing outside round A&E departments. 60,000 people each month waiting more than 12 hours on trolleys in A&E because there are no beds available. What happens to them? Well, a lot of them die, according to the Royal College of Emergency Medicine. 350 people dying each week because of delays in A&E. I have to say we don't hear Wes Streeting talking about that. In fact, Labour's main focus is on supporting the private sector, which they say will help the NHS because it has common aims and objectives. I wonder if, like me, you think that may be connected to the fact that Wes Streeting has taken £225,000 in donations from people associated with the private healthcare industry. 1 year post-election almost, and progress in restoring the NHS as promised is painfully slow. With the current rate of reduction in the waiting list, it would take another 34 years to get back down to 2.5 million. Only 10 years ago, let's not forget, only 10 years ago, the NHS ranked internationally as the best model of care in the world. And so what we're saying to Labour, stop saying that the NHS has more money than ever before and just needs reform. Improvement under New Labour came from investment in the NHS, not from its market-driven reforms. If the average annual funding increase given to the NHS up to the year 2010 had been continued, the NHS would have had 423 billion more in funding than it has done. France spends about 40 billion a year more on healthcare, Germany 73 billion. We need to invest in staff to fill 120,000 vacancies. We need restorative pay rises to attract and retain workers. We should celebrate the vital role played by staff from overseas. 1 in 5 of the NHS workforce and 1 in 3 in social care. And Labour should heed Lord Darcy when he said, we can't afford not to invest in the NHS, to which we would add, if the NHS fails, then so does the economy. So our message again to Labour is invest in the future, invest in the NHS and its staff, tackle poverty and inequality to reduce ill health, and do that by redistributing wealth. Tax the rich, welfare not warfare. Abandon the vicious attacks on the elderly, on disabled and on migrant workers. See health and social care not as a drain on the taxpayer, but as a crucial way of improving quality of life. And use your massive majority to make a positive difference. No return to austerity. And whose NHS is it anyway? Whose NHS? Our NHS. Whose NHS? Our NHS. Thank you.
And thank you to John. Whose NHS?
Our NHS.
Whose NHS?
Our NHS.
Now our next speaker is the former leader of the Labour Party. He is a man who has dedicated his life to human dignity. He may be the former Labour leader, but he is the leader of progressive thought in Britain. Big welcome to Jeremy Corbyn!
Thank you, and thank you all for being here today. And big thanks to all the organisations that have put this together. Because look at us, we are people with disabilities. We're people campaigning on environmental sustainability. We're people campaigning against poverty within our society. And we're people campaigning for peace around the world and an end to the arms trade and arms sales. That is what unites us together. Of the kind of society we could live in rather than the one we do live in at the moment. The world is spending this year $2.7 trillion on arms, 9% up on last year. Next year it will possibly reach even $3 trillion. In the case of Britain, the Prime Minister has announced that defence spending is going to go up to 3% of GDP, then 3.5%, and now there are demands to put it up to 5%. That amounts to at least £13 billion a year more on armaments. And this week they announced they're building 6 new nuclear-powered submarines and a whole new generation of nuclear warheads, which is actually in contravention of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. And so, as the wars rage around the world, the killing fields in Ukraine and Russia, the abominable, deliberate starvation of children in Gaza, and the genocide that's inflicted against the Palestinian people continues. Surely to goodness, we need a world of peace. We need a world of peace that will come through the vision of peace, the vision of disarmament, and the vision of actually challenging the causes of war, which leads to the desperation and the refugee flows of today. And here at home, we're told the government is making tough choices. Many of you may not remember or have heard of her, but there was a wonderful Labour MP when I was first elected to Parliament called Joan Maynard, who was MP for Sheffield. And she sat me down the first day I was in Parliament, poured me a cup of tea and said, "Jeremy, one sentence of advice for you." As she poured the tea, she said, "Jeremy, if either of the front benches in Parliament say these are tough decisions we're taking, it's the working class who are losing out." And so when governments tell us they're making tough decisions to take £5 billion out of the welfare budget, knowing full well that people will be denied personal independence payments they desperately need to survive. Knowing by not removing the 2-child benefit cap, you're consigning millions of children to a continuation of poverty. Not compensating the WASPy women for the injustice they were done. Taking away the winter fuel allowance. Continuing the massive levels of debt for young people who had the temerity to go to college. Surely to goodness, let's be together for peace, for justice, for sustainability. But above all, let's not go forward as a movement of despair. Go forward as a movement of hope, of what we can achieve together, the society we can build together, the inspiration, the creativity, and the hopeless here. That's what unites us, that's what makes us strong, and that's what makes us carry on and on and on, when all these people will be long forgotten and gone. Thank you very much.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Thanks, Jeremy. So, we've got a politician, he's called West Streeting. He's trying to privatise your NHS. We say boo. This next speaker, she almost beat him. She was 500 votes out. It's Leah Mohammed.
Friends, comrades and champions of justice, I
whether through brutal cuts at home or complicity in genocide abroad. As a British Palestinian, I know these struggles are not separate, and I see the connection clearer than ever. The same political class enabling the genocide in Gaza is the one imposing austerity here. The same government that finds endless billions for bombs and bullets claims there's no money for nurses, teachers, carers, the very people who keep this country going. It is the same cruelty, the same contempt, the same system. In Gaza, children are being starved and slaughtered with British weapons and with the help of the British diplomatic cover. Our so-called leaders arm apartheid, block ceasefires and shield war criminals. And at home, those same leaders tell us there's no money for food banks, hospitals or schools. Shame! They refuse to fund life, but will always find billions for death. This is not accidental. This isn't incompetence. It's not just a moral failure. It is a deliberate political choice. A choice to serve the rich, not the people. A choice to fund warfare, not welfare. A choice to protect billionaires and not the basic dignity of working class communities. And now, under Keir Starmer, Labour is continuing the same austerity agenda. Austerity 2.0, different rosette, same brutal policies. But this is more than just about policy. This is about people's lives. It's about children in Gaza being bombed. It's about children here going hungry. It's about families without homes. It's about services crumbling while corporations cash in. They want us to believe that suffering is inevitable, that poverty is normal, that we should accept genocide as politics as usual, but we are here to say no! No more genocide! No more austerity! No more excuses! In the last general election, I stood as an independent candidate against Wes Streeting, the very man now overseeing the dismantling of our NHS, and we came within 500 votes, within 1.1% of unseating him. Why? Because people are sick of betrayal, sick of being lied to. Wes Streeting is currently using his post as health secretary to give our health data to the horrid Palantir, the same company that powers Israel's AI warfare. It is Palantir's technology behind the autonomous killing machines that target children in Gaza. This unethical, unsavoury and frankly useless government has got to be stopped. Let me be clear. The NHS was built for care, not for profit. It belongs to the people, and we will not let them rip it apart to feed corporate greed. We didn't come close to victory by accident. We came that close because there's a movement rising, one that says this country belongs to all of us, not just the wealthy few. So let's make it clear, another world is not only possible, it is necessary, and we are here to build it. Trade unionists, campaigners, communities, the people united. They want us divided, but we are united. They want us silent, we are louder than ever. They want us afraid, but we are ready to fight. For justice, for dignity, for a future without austerity and without apartheid. Because the callousness that they show abroad is mirrored by the callousness they show here at home. Never forget, justice will win, but power of the people will always prevail, and Palestine will be free. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leanne Mohammed. What an important message. Another world is possible, and it is possible in this movement. Now our next speaker represents Homes for All. So many people now are locked out of housing as house prices rise, wages stagnate. Please welcome Tanya Morat.
Hello everyone, I'm one of the organisers of the Homes for All coalition, but also the amazing coalition we recently put together called Southwark Housing and Planning Emergency. We've organised a housing and planning block on this demonstration because we are facing a housing emergency and people voted Labour to do something about it, not to make it worse. We're very clear about what the government should do to solve the housing crisis. One, they need to build or provide a new generation of council housing. Angela Rayner says she will build 1.5 million new homes, but where is the funding for council homes? Council housing is the only answer, but the government chooses instead to blame migrants for the lack of access to housing. After years of demolitions, of sell-offs, of austerity, it's government, landlords, developers that cause the housing crisis, not migrants, not refugees. We say to the government they need to requisition empty homes. There are 1 million empty or underused homes in the country. There are more bedrooms than people in this country. There is no crisis in the amount of housing, but there is a crisis of inequality in the distribution of housing. The government should take over empty homes and let councils manage them for the benefit of the people. Government must rein in the power of landlords. We need a nationally enforced system of rent control, and we need it now. We need secure tenancies for private renters. We need protection from eviction. We need strict regulation for housing associations, providing warm, safe and secure homes for all. And the government must end the building safety scandal. Next Saturday will be the 8th anniversary of the Grenfell fire. None of the perpetrators have been jailed. None of the companies have been made to pay. We need justice for all the leaseholders trapped in dangerous buildings. Make developers pay, and justice for Grenfell. We need a government that stands up to developers, but the government's planning and infrastructure bill is a developer's charter. It will rip up planning regulation, cause even more harm to the environment. It will accelerate the climate emergency, and it will undermine local democracy. The plain truth is that giving developers the green light to make super profits will not solve the housing emergency. The SHAPE coalition are fighting developers like Berkeley Homes, who are offering just 12% so-called affordable housing. We can't let them get away with it in South London, or they will try it everywhere. We're calling for 50% council housing on private land, 100% council housing on public land. We're calling for a housing and planning revolution. The only way to solve the housing emergency is to build or acquire council housing. Stop demolishing council homes, refurbish, don't demolish, and fight for a country that puts people before profit. Homes for people, not for profit. Homes for people, not for profit. Homes for people, not for profit. Thank you. Keep fighting for council housing.
Thank you, Tanya. So we only have a couple of speakers left, so I thank you so much for hanging around. So we've in here in Downing Street, we've got a leader of the Labour Party, our Prime Minister, who used racist language. We've got someone waiting in the wings to take over as Prime Minister called Nigel Farage. Are we going to accept that?
No!
No! Our next speaker is Samara Ali from Stand Up to Racism.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm here with Stand Up to Racism today to say that we are saying that refugees are welcome here. We're saying blame austerity, not migrants. Say it loud, say it clear.
Refugees are welcome here.
Say Portugal and more. We say we know where Starmer's rhetoric ends, and it ends with the far right in government. Now Starmer is aping Farage, and not just is this morally disgusting, but we know it's not going to stop Farage. It is not going to stop reform. It is only making them bolder, because you don't stop the far right by copying them, by using their racism. You only stop the far right by confronting them. And that means that Keir Starmer, the anti-racist movement, is here to fight you. Every time you demonise migrants, every time you drive through attacks on ordinary people, and every time you embolden Reform UK, we will oppose you. And we are in a situation now that if there was a general election tomorrow, Farage would be walking into Downing Street and Starmer is handing him the keys. But we see you, Farage. We see you for who you are: a filthy, lifelong racist, a fraud, a billionaire, a banker, a private schoolboy, a tax-evading millionaire, and we see your party for the far-right racist party that it is. And look at the filth they're spreading, talking about banning the burqa, supposedly in the interest of women or public safety. Is it in the interest of public safety to license fascist riots on the streets of Britain? Is it in the interest of women to attack what Muslim women choose to wear? Well, we know where Sarah Pogen should start. It's with the sexists in her own party, with people like James McMurdoch, their MP, who was charged with battering his girlfriend. And when they come for Muslim women, we are saying no, we are standing up, and we are standing with them to say stop Islamophobia and stop the attacks. Reform UK is the biggest threat to our unity and our movement that we face today, and we need to stop them. At the elections, at the councils, every time they drive through an attack on migrants, every time they embolden fascists like Tommy Robinson. And I'm here with some bad news. That fascist Tommy Robinson has just been released from prison, and he's calling another demonstration in London on the 13th of September. Well, last time we were here in our tens of thousands to say stop the fascists. We smashed him before, again and again, but we need to do it again. So I'm calling everyone here to be on the streets on the 13th of September. Now, Stand Up to Racism is building a movement to stop Starmer's racism, to stop Reform UK, and to smash the fascists. But we need more of us, so I'm saying join us, and we need to build a movement of hope against despair.
Thank you, Samira. And if you're not involved in Stand Up to Racism, get involved. Keir Starmer talking about an island of strangers is absolute nonsense. People are atomised because there have been cuts to the community services, because there's been a decline in the trade union movement, because people don't have community anymore. It's nothing to do with migration, it's to do with austerity. And let's be clear, Nigel Farage is a Tommy Robinson in tweed. He is a Tommy Robinson with the same politics of hate, just window dressed on Savile Row. Now our next speaker has been campaigning for trade union freedom throughout his life. We have the most repressive trade union legislation in the Western world. Please give it up to Baron Henry Casey.